let's talk about price movements and what these might be caused by, because we saw a giant dip early today and it kind of went lower than any of us are probably comfortable with. Some people are saying, well, this has to do with derivatives markets and shorting and all of that. Other people are saying, well, this has to do with the Mt. Gox glut. Others are saying, no, that's rubbish. There's nothing to substantiate that. And obviously you're going to get a pullback anytime you get all-time highs in crypto. It's natural for the market to do this. Historically, it's always done this. So this is just a natural progression. A lot to dive into here. I definitely have some thoughts about these derivative markets and maybe some asymmetry there, but I do want to throw to the group for your take on all of this. Like, are we in a bear market there? Is this just a natural correction and we still headed out? Zach, what are your thoughts?
Oh man, orange coin go down. I don't know. Can we zoom out a little bit on that chart? I like to zoom out a little bit. I think we're probably going to see a brief correction and then I don't know. I mean, last year at the end of the year, things went super duper crazy, right? Everybody was like, oh yeah, we'll take a holiday, we'll take a break, whatever. And then it was like all-time high, all-time high, all-time high, all-time high. And I think, I don't know, but it could happen again this year. So I don't know. I really don't know much about why the Bitcoin moves up and down. I'm just going to tout my ignorance on Bitcoin price movement. There's so many things that are affecting this market here at this point in time. And it's really unclear. It's really hard to attribute as much as we as humans like to attribute something to sort of like a causal reality. Like in this marketplace, if there's anything I've learned in the last 3 years, it's often really hard to do that, right? There may be any number of sort of like unseen factors that are also at play relative to these big macro factors that you're elaborating on so well, Naomi. So interesting to see.
The first thing people should do, just a tip, just go to Elon Musk's page. What has he tweeted that day? And there's your answer. That's why Bitcoin moved in whatever direction.
Bitcoin does X as Elon does Y. There you go. Done. I mean, the thing that is going to be interesting at the end of the year, I think what we should do at CoinDesk at the end of the year, all these year-end price predictions that we've heard across the course of this bull run, I'm going to be curious to see who got it most right. Because, I think,
dive into that.
100,000 felt like a pretty good, mid bet. And then there's going to be some sort of highs and lows on the prediction front that have been made over the course of the year. Remember that guy's at Guggenheim or whatever? I don't know the name. Anyway, there's some big price predictions out there, and it's going to be interesting to see which pundit was most correct on that one. Anyway, that's all I got.
Dan, what are your thoughts on all of this and where we're heading?
Yeah, so I also, I think I'm quite similar to Zach in the fact that I just can't even wrap my head around all of the different contributions that go towards the markets. But I want to point to the two that you mentioned in your intro. So there are analysts quoted in the story as citing Mt. Gox and the Craig Wright case as possible reasons for this. And it just seemed a little, for me, far-fetched to cite those two things as the reasons for this particular dip. But I'm interested to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, well, I thought that with derivatives markets, what's interesting right now is prior to us getting, even prior to the futures markets, like CME, for example, you had this technology, and if you were interested enough in it, then you would buy into it. And generally the people who buy into it are really bullish about it because they've taken the time to figure out how to get involved and buy the Bitcoin, right? And then suddenly you start to have all of these alternative traditional markets come out, which enables people to bet on the direction of Bitcoin without ever having to have gotten involved with it and try it out. I feel like when people actually get involved and use this, they're like, oh, actually, this is interesting. Like once you use it, once you actually experience that transfer of value to someone, that instantaneous movement of crypto, it's like a thrilling experience. Like I remember the first Bitcoin transaction back in the day, and it was like, oh my God, that just went from here to there. Like now you're in control of it. And it was exciting. And so it's like this asymmetry where a lot of these derivatives markets, like I don't think it's too far-fetched to say that derivatives-led movements actions can lead to movements in Bitcoin. I think that there are a lot of people involved in traditional markets who are shorting Bitcoin. And they have no interest in ever getting involved, ever testing this stuff out. And so we do have this interesting phenomenon emerging now. But ultimately, I think the tech is going to win. And these people who are shorting it are going to be hurting. So we've seen what happens. I mean, I'm not against shorting at all. I think it's fantastic for price discovery. And also, I mean, a lot of people are downers on shorts. They're like, no, we hate short markets. That's why AMC and GameStop, we're going to pump this up and down with the shorters. It's like, no, shorters are important for price discovery. And it's also not good just to have that asymmetry before where the only people betting on Bitcoin were the ones involved with it and they're all bullish. So you just have this price movement up. Now that we do have interesting counterbalances, I'm curious to see where this goes and where like general market values crypto at. But honestly, I think the bears and the shorts are going to be disappointed. I think they're going to lose a lot of money. But I'm going to throw it to you, Zach, for your thoughts.
I think that's a really great point. I mean, I think, options are the way for market to express an opinion. And I think without it, like if you go back in time, right, the approval of Bitcoin options, I think during that last bull run in 2017, I think it was the date of Bitcoin's all-time high is when options were approved, because people in the U.S. Financial regulatory sector wanted there to be a market mechanism for folks to express, again, that countervailing option to sort of keep things in check. So the fact that those exist and are more robust now is certainly an important market feature of Bitcoin in 2021.